All right, the stream is live, brother. How you doing, Simos?
Good morning, REC Nation. Good morning, Mr. Takar.
What's up, brother? How you been?
Another great weekend is in the books. Lots of hard work. We were at REC was representing at the Toronto Money Show yesterday.
How did that
It
go?
was it was a fantastic show.
Were they handing out
It
money?
was phenomenal. I mean,
Were they throwing out money?
they were
Calling
definitely
it the
not handing out money.
calling it the money show? I figured they would just
Oh
be
no,
like,
it
"You get a car, you get a
um,
property, you get a condo, you get a multiplex." Oprah style.
so it wasn't a real estate. So it was actually we were actually quite a big draw
Mm,
because it wasn't a real estate show. It's the money show. It's financial instruments. Big representation by the big five banks, like Equitons, the Equities that we're familiar with were there. Morrison Financial was there that we knew. Um, there was Prudential. There was all the ETF people. So exchange traded funds. It was giving people a lot of workshops on understanding how those things work and how they're beneficial to the investor community. I learned a lot by being there, and I enjoyed it, to be honest with you, because we're so specifically me and you, we're so real estate driven, meaning that I would say 95% of our investments are in real estate. It's nice to see the other side of it, and it's significant, and it was really educational. It was really good. Our
yeah,
session, I led it with, and everybody in REC Insiders and REC Nation right now will hear about our big event coming up. But I enlightened the people on the state of the market, what we're going to do today. We can even take the presentation that I did as an anchor because it's the market, it's where
I
we're going,
I
kind
love
of
that idea.
analysis.
I love that idea. And just really quickly before we even do that, just a point that you mentioned, which I think it's important to reiterate. Like, yes, we are a real estate educational brokerage. That's what we do with helping people invest and create wealth in real estate. We're biased. Like, for anybody who might be new listening to this, we're definitely biased. We're both brokers. We have a team of like 64, 65 agents now. But what you mentioned is very important, which was the fact that majority of our investments, 95% of them, I actually think for me, it's about 100%. You're maybe at like 99% because the other places that you probably put your money is in other businesses or our business here at REC Canada. But I mentioned that because that's what we know. But not to say that investing into mutual funds and stocks, franchises, Bitcoin, like that whole world, all that, everything other than real estate, there is hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of people that are multi millionaires. Obviously there's a few billionaires out there as well, but there's a lot of people that have made money outside of real estate. I'll say this, and I would like to get your 2 cents on it really quickly as well. So I just think real estate is very easy, or let me rephrase that, it's easier to get into because so many people have done it. Not to say it's the only way to create wealth. We just think it's one of the best ways to create wealth. Thoughts on that? Wow, that
Yeah,
was
so
actually,
I
I
agree.
was going to say that was
It's all
really, really good, or I just bored the shit out of you because I got you speechless there for a second.
no, not at all. I agree with you. It's a great way to start building wealth. It's a great way to retain wealth. And if we were to look at any single financially successful person, we're going to see that the pattern and the common denominator across every single one of them is they're going to have some or significant assets in real estate because of the unique ability to grow over time while so your investment into a real estate asset goes down over time and the return goes up over time. So it is the only thing that can produce that formula, and it's proven across the globe, not just here, across anywhere, that land is just real. It's not a stock that can one bad CEO and everything goes away. Bricks and mortar are physical, real, tangible assets that you control. You have a lot to do with it, and your management style and your real estate decisions will pay off in the long run.
Yeah,
So that
and within and within real estate investing, there's a lot of different avenues and paths that you can take, and again, with the myriad of industry experts that we like to and try our best to bring to the table through webinars like this, in-person events. We are going to be mentioning something around the 15 to 20 minute mark. I know the team in the back end is just getting some of our links set up right now, but we're gonna let you in on an exclusive event that we're doing. It is definitely backed by popular demand, something that we haven't done now for coming up to almost to the date to about 3 years, and so we're going to give everyone access today to make sure that they're part of this monumental event in real estate investing, and it's absolutely free to join. So I think most people are going to love that. But as I was saying, within real estate investing, there's a lot of different paths. You can go, ultra passive with like a land development deal where you're really all you're doing is partnering up with a developer. There's pros to it, meaning there's a lot of benefits, but there's always things to consider with every single type of investment in real estate. I think every investment in general, but definitely within real estate. And then I think the next rung on the ladder, so to speak, would be investing into like an actual unit through like a pre-construction condo. If you want to be a little bit more active, you can get an income property that has 2 doors, 4 doors, go into the multiplex world when it's 5 doors and above. Again, depending on how active you want to be. I personally don't do this in my portfolio, but there's a lot of people making money with burring and just flipping in general, buying a property, fixing it up, adding a story, adding an in-law a suite, and flipping it. Hey, nothing wrong with that, just not right for me. And on the flip side, what I like to do is the boring stuff. Seamos likes to do more of the boring stuff as well, like investing into those land developments or pre-construction condos. And that might not be right for you because you might not like the fact that it doesn't give you the type of cash flow you're looking for. We're more equity investors. So again, like you just gotta, this is my 90-second rant on understanding what the types of investments are out there in the real estate world, and then deciding, okay, I'm probably that type of investor. I think the biggest mistake that we've seen in the last 19 years of people who haven't, unfortunately, created wealth in real estate, I think it's just come down to the fact that they got caught up in the investor shiny object syndrome. Like, I want to do this, 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 and then you end up doing nothing. Really, I mean, that's why there's a sign right here that says ready, fire, aim. It's more for our business and our life, really. But in real estate, you can take this model right here and really implement it, because you can tie up property in real estate, make it conditional on the due diligence of your mother's cousin's niece taking a look at it. And then if it doesn't make sense, you can actually pull out of that deal. So look, I think our motto has always been lead with education, so people who are watching, who are in our world, can make a quality informed decision themselves.
I couldn't agree more, man. And I think those are all very fair and invaluable points. I do want to get in a little bit of that interpretation of the market.
Let's go.
I do want to, I'm going to share quickly. Let me just see where I have it here. I'm going to share quickly what I presented yesterday because it's also, let's see here, slides. How does this work? Your computer.
And just while you're bringing that up, obviously one of the biggest news articles or announcements, that came out in the last week, actually just this past Wednesday, was the fact that Bank of Canada stayed steady with their overnight lending rate. So for all of our friends and clients and family and personally, the guys and gals that are on variable rates, I mean that obviously is a sign of relief, because your mortgage payment is not going to go up. It'll be interesting to see what happens for the rest of the year, but again, the fact that they didn't increase the rates, I think we're gonna. I mean, I've already saw it. Like literally, that happened on Wednesday at around 9:30 a.m. By like 11:30, CMOS, we had 5 new buyers ready to say. They said, "Okay, we're good to go now. Like let's start to make a move. Let's start to look at properties." So that's what's gonna start happening out there. It's happened every single time we've seen these peaks and valleys with interest rates. But you ready to bring up your screen, brother?
I
Awesome.
am. Nick, yeah, thank you, Nick. I appreciate that. This is the presentation that we used yesterday for the show, so it's relevant to this very moment. I also have ready for us the August stats, which is in retrospect now, 10 days ago, the month ended. The stats came out on Tuesday. The stats are reported by the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. And those numbers is what we use to go, like we obviously try to use 7-day data, but on an overall feel, the 30-day story has been written and we have it. So in this presentation, I obviously introduced myself to the crowd that did not know us, and I wanted to go down three very important items. The Bank of Canada interest rate announcement that Jazz just mentioned, that was held. And the reason that was held is not because the banks felt generous or otherwise anything. The reason is very simple. The measures they have taken have brought inflation down considerably. As a matter of fact, I believe that next month, when we get the August results for inflation, because they're about 60 days behind always in reporting, we're probably going to see a number in the twos or in very low threes. And anecdotally, we represent over 800 investors a year. We know firsthand from us and from your feedback how much suffering this has brought to the Canadian consumer with groceries, gas, all these expenses sky high, and us having to shelter our wallets, reduce our spending and our overheads to make this happen. So the Bank of Canada held its rate. That's good news. If on October 25th, which is the next announcement, we see the same trend, we're going to start to now see consumer confidence return to the market. And the reason for that is if you look at my screen here, the selling prices remain stable. Let me just show
Oh,
you guys something. I'm just going one thing. Oh, sorry. So what I wanted to show, and I don't have it on this slide, is stability brings confidence. So when people know, and we definitely have our notion, me and Jazz, the REC, we know that the ceiling of interest rates are almost either at peak. I don't see them going up much more, maybe a quarter basis points if that is necessary, but we have reached that crest or it's cresting. It cannot go much further because now you would put not the economy into a recession, rather a depression. And that's not what anybody wants. So I believe we're near the end of the hikes, or at the end of the hikes. The optimistic Simeon believes that we're done. If there is going to be one more, it would be in October if they need to before the holiday season, so people don't get out of hand. And if that's the case, I believe that would be the end. But I hope it's now. What I was saying, stability. The minute people know they can count on the situation, meaning that uncertainty of further hurt dissipates, we're going to see people restructuring portfolios, taking short term fixed rates, knowing that they're going to see a slow and gradual regression in interest rates, meaning they're going to slowly come down again. And I don't want to put any type of message that implies or eludes that you're going to see 3% interest anytime soon. We have had conversations, Jazz, dozens of conversations with some of the biggest minds. Forget me and Jazz. I'm saying the biggest minds in finance, and they believe that it's going to take a couple of years to get to the low fours, but we'll get there. So once stability settles in, there is an optimistic picture because the economy and our immigration is booming, meaning we only saw the first time our GDP go down through a 2.5 or through all of COVID, and then up until since last February when they started the interest rate hikes, we hadn't seen a quarter with negative GDP, which is why they kept rising the rates. They're like, what is happening here? How can we not slow this machine down? But we do live in a robust economy, so it's difficult to achieve it. But there is positivity looming. There is, in my opinion, a tremendous amount of opportunity. And that is going to be the last thing I mentioned today. If we have time, is I'm going to speak a little bit to something that Jazz coined a couple of years back. I think it was in 2020 November when he said Toronto is on sale. I have evidence from the Toronto Star, a amazing reporter. I've spoken to her many times, but she published an article yesterday showing some new data, and I'm saving it for last. So,
All right. Good.
Jack,
Well,
talk to me if you want to maybe go a little bit about this right here. If your home sales in August, what does that mean? Just
well, look, I
seasonal?
think,
Or?
yeah, overall, if you look at, in, I'll go back to what I was saying earlier, right? As you were going through these numbers and you were mentioning the rates going up, and not maybe coming down for another couple of years, or not maybe seeing it at that 3% kind of range. What I was just thinking to myself, I was like, it's so funny, like the guys and gals that I've seen win over time. And I also don't like to just speak about my experience, your experience, because people might be like, you guys either got lucky or you're in the business. I'm talking about the thousands upon thousands of investors. When you say 800 a year, I mean, where you look at a decade now, that we've been doing this for almost close to 2 decades. But if you just take the last decade, I mean, that's a big sample size of people and overwatching their portfolios. And in that period, no matter what, the ones that I saw win, they never got too high on themselves and they never got too low on themselves, right? Meaning that when the rates did go up and the values dropped, and then when the rates came down and the values increased, they were just like, you know what, can I just see my 4 to maybe 3.5 to 4.5% year over year increase on my properties, and I'll be happy. And even when it went to like something crazy at like 22% or 21%, when was that? Like early 2020, maybe just before COVID, or maybe it was like in that June and July time of 2020. We saw that 22% increase in values. Those same people, they weren't really getting too crazy. Some of them took advantage of it, refinanced their properties, and then maybe bought more. But just the regular Joe and Jane that I've seen win in investing into real estate, they just look at it from a 10-year window. I think there's maybe because I just put up a video on Instagram like 5 seconds before we jumped onto this webinar, and it was a gentleman who commented on another video of mine who said, and this video is getting ripped on. The original video had like, I don't know, 200 comments on it. I'm getting ripped on just educating people on pre-construction condos. And then this guy jumped in. I apologize because I forget his name. And he said, look, I bought a pre-construction in Oakville in 2016 for $405,000. Right now, my resale value on that exactly 7 years ago is a little over $850,000. Right. And my response to that comment of his was, I was telling everybody, look, not 100% of the time is it going to work out like this if you decide to sell in 4 years or 5 years. But if you hold on for that decade, you are going to see the doubling. That's just it might be year 9, it might be year 11, right around that decade time. You are going to see the doubling of the value, and it come full circle to your point about, fewer homes on the market or fewer homes and condos selling in August. It's because we're not really seeing a massive amount of listings. Yes, the months of inventory have increased right across the GTA except for one region. So if you're a home seller and you might be thinking about selling and you're in the Durham region, you got a nice little pocket right now because months of inventory are, I believe, little over a month and a half. It's really the only region in the greater Toronto area that's less than 2 months and 3 weeks, right? Everyone else is about the 3-month period. Average for the whole GTA is 2 months and 3.5 weeks. So call it 3 months almost, which tells us we're at a very, very strong balanced market, a light seller's market. But what we might see with the rates jumping so much, so quickly, and having so many increases, I actually thought we might be flirting around 4.5 to 5.5 months of inventory, which would now spell a very strong buyer's market, because you would think, holy shit, people are going to be losing a lot of money. They're going to need to sell. When, to your point, Simeon, earlier, that we've probably seen the height of these interest rate hikes, and maybe there might be another one, but we didn't see it. Like, yes, I get, like, there might be people
So
out
you
there that
haven't
are.
seen it. So the key thing here is yet. So I do believe. So the article that I read yesterday, and this goes because you're on point. You're dead on point. Nothing has changed other than adding a month of inventory in a city like Toronto that gets gobbled up in 2 seconds. So that's not the issue. But yesterday, the article that I read is up. They went data up to the minute and based on August stats. And there is, based on that interest rate announcement, a flood of condominium inventory downtown Toronto by the investor community. Remember, downtown Toronto, you're talking about almost, we might be flirting over 50. Thank you, Caroline.
I was going to
Over
say 60%.
50 to 60% of inventory is held by investors. So this last move was the straw that broke the camel's back just now for a lot of people, where they're saying, you know what, I'm out. For those people who are going to do that, 99% of those people, these are complete units. They bought them years ago. They're cashing out regardless. So whether they make 100,000 or they make 80,000 or 85,000 profit on top, or whatever the case may be, is irrelevant. But right now, I believe that we might see a spike of inventory in the next 30 days downtown Toronto. And if anyone is in a position to be looking at buying opportunities, this might be the window that has not shown its face since the last time, almost same time of the year. It was November 2020. We should go to the archives. Let's go back. Let's go to the crates, find it. It was when you said, right now, people are downtown Toronto is on sale. I remember you could shoot a cannonball through King Street at the time. It was back then. So it was November 2020. It was somewhere around there. And right now it's happening again, but it's the reverse setting, meaning back then people had no idea what was happening. Nobody wanted to be downtown because of the virus and all those things. Right now, people just can't carry the weight. They're done. They're cashing out, and there might be a short window, because if October 25th there's no interest rate announcement, those people are going to regret their move. So I'm not trying to say do it or don't do it. Do what's right for you. You know what's right for you. But for buyers, savvy buyers, you might be able to save 30 to 60,000 bucks right now on a very, very short time window.
And to actually find out if this is a right move or not, we want you to join us on Saturday, September 23rd, where we will be doing a 5-hour non-stop webinar. And this is what I wanted everyone to hear today. And so it's going to be a 5-hour webinar that I'm going to be hosting with some of the top people in the industry. We obviously are going to have Simos come in and speak about a very important topic where we're seeing a lot of our investors find amazing deals in a specific segment of the market. As I mentioned, it's going to be happening on Saturday, September 23rd. All you got to do is go to reccanada.com/marathon. Go to reccanada.com/marathon. We're going to be talking about, because I saw the slide earlier, Simos, you had up, which was forecasting, as well as like exactly what's happening with rental rates, what's happening with vacancies. We're going to be touching on every single one of those points. This marathon
let's tease it a bit. You brought on the president of Ontario Landlord Watch.
Yep.
Our community right now, we're speaking to hundreds of landlords. We're going to have Kayla come in. She is the founder and still she started a movement. Truly, she has fought government bodies. She is advocating for investors and landlords every single day. And the reason is the tenants in Ontario, the scales are way skewed to their end. And I'm not talking like, I have no issue with tenant rights. I am a great landlord. I am an investor who treats my tenants like clients, like citizens, like my brothers and my sisters. But when something goes wrong, there is no protection mechanism for me. And that is simply wrong. So we're going to have her on the 23rd. So I don't care if you're buying or selling real estate right now. Come and know where your portfolio is, understand the opportunities, and listen to people who are in it. Kayla is in it. She will share with us her insight of what's happening right now.
Guys, the last time we did this investing marathon, we had a little over 2,000 people that came in and out. It's a 5-hour ordeal. So we understand you might need to sign off for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, which is fine. But we had a little over 2,000 people registered, and at no time throughout that whole investing marathon did our numbers go less than 700 people. So that tells us, that's why I said back by popular demand. It's a lot of work to set something like that up, the logistics, the speakers and the topics, finding out what you guys might want us to speak about. And so I urge you to quickly go right now and register to get your Zoom link absolutely free. There's no cost for it at reccanada.com/marathon, reccanada.com/marathon. And we're more than happy to host any of your friends, families, colleagues, or neighbors. Just forward them that page, that link, and have them grab their Zoom link as well, because we're excited. I know it's 10 a.m. and so some of our friends on the West Coast there for 7, they'll come. I know it. I used to worry about it and be concerned and be like, shit, how are we going to get all of our BC friends? They sign on at 7 o'clock in the morning. So
you know what? If we're going to spoil Ontario by letting them come on at 10 a.m. and we have to viciously wake up our West Coast brethren, you know what we do? Anybody on the West Coast that doesn't have an REC cup and a coffee, write us an email. Done. We will send you a cup of coffee straight from Toronto for you to enjoy on the 23rd.
I was looking for one of my mugs around. I was looking for one of the REC mugs. You probably have one on your desk right now. Where is it?
I'm cheating today. I'm cheating.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I've only been drinking from my Dallas Cowboys mug today because today is opening day for the Dallas Cowboys in the NFL, and it's a Sunday nighter, so it's going to be a little late night for Jazzy for sure. Quickly touch about this back to basics slide that you have up, Simos, and then let's call it a day for brunch, because like I said, it's opening day in the NFL. It is the most exciting day in sports, hands down, for me personally, because we're all 0-0, other than the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions, who played on Thursday night. But who cares about those two teams? It's all about the Dallas Cowboys. There's that mug. As Simo said, if you're in the West Coast and you don't have one of our REC Canada mugs, just send us an email. We know we're getting you up at 7 a.m. on Saturday, September 23rd. So let's make it a little bit more easier because you got some
coffee just tastes better in this mug. I mean,
touch on this slide really quickly, brother.
What
did you talk about here on the back to basics? Rates are up.
Yeah.
Rents are up. Sorry.
So remember, the due diligence that we do now versus the due diligence we were doing in 2021 when interest rates were 2% is night and day different. There is no time to speculate. There is no room or margin for error. Rates are up, rents are up. What does that mean? When rates go up, there's a reason that rents have spiked almost 35% since the implementation of the interest rate hikes last February. In just 18 months, we have seen a 35% spike. Not normal. The only benefactors of this are investor landlords, period. So this policy, this government has created a massive issue by putting all that money out and having to fix it now. The reason rents are up is because all of the people that would have bought real estate can no longer buy real estate. So the buyer pool has been dissipated, the first-time home buyer pool specifically, and that has caused rents to rise. With rents rising, that allows the urban markets to still hold steady in values and appreciate, while tertiary markets are cash flowing more than ever as tenants seek relief in outside markets. So understand that it's not doomsday. Doomsday is for the tenant who has to stay tenanting. Doomsday is for the 22-year-old couple that was dreaming of home ownership that have been robbed of that dream. They are victims of these circumstances. Landlords are not. We are the benefactors. Meaning we have respectfully, yes, we have tightening margins right now because of interest rates. Nobody's proof of this. We can't, they're not going to not apply to us. But all I'm trying to get at is from an investor position, if you have owned real estate and you do own real estate, you know that these are the times that benefit investors the most. It's through the valleys and the downs that we build more strength and come out the other side 10 times stronger. Like rental rates are not coming down ever again. Once they're up, they're up.
20 years, I've only seen the rental rates go down once. And that was because
that lasted 6 months.
Yeah, well, that was, I mean, what was it? Like exactly from, I'm going to say about April 2020 to about September 2020, October. Like I'm saying during the pandemic, that's the only time that I saw rates go down. And so rental rates go down. This is, if you go back, you're talking about archives and videos and stuff that we've spoken about. I mean, we've always said the major cities like Toronto are a renter city. You know, like unfortunately,
they're more.
Right? And it's 100%, which bodes well for investors. Hence why we're putting on an investor marathon, because we know that you need to be educated more about certain strategies. There's going to be exclusive opportunities also mentioned, and it's going to be for some people and it's not going to be for others. Who cares? Come and get the education so you can make a quality informed decision based on facts. It's not going to be all just my optimism, my energy, Simos's positivity. That's not where this is going to be coming from. It's going to be coming from hard black and white numbers. And so to get your Zoom link, go to reccanada.com/marathon. Simos, what do you got for the rest of the evening, brother?
I have a really nice day ahead. We're taking the kids to music at noon, and we're probably going to go by Square One. get some kids some hoodies. It's getting cooler already outside. I think we missed our chance for a dip last weekend there. We were trying, Jazz and I, to get the kids to the water, but I think we're just gonna chill, man. Maybe go for a walk about the mall and get the kids some
Nice.
hoodies for the cooler weather. Just relax. Just try to
Nice.
get
So
some
I'm going to be lining up all the speakers and the times and the schedule, because we have especially if you get our emails, be prepared, because you will be getting more emails than we generally send for this marathon, because we're going to let you know every time we have a speaker confirmed, which we already have. I'm going to say 50% of our lineup confirmed, but as we confirm more, we're going to keep dropping more and more emails. So please forward it to your friends, family, colleagues, and neighbors and co-workers and all that, because we want to have a massive show. It's online. You don't need to drive anywhere, but that's going to really consist for my next 3-4 hours. Hence why I was saying let's not go the usual hour that we go, because I got a lot of work in and around setting up and making sure all the speakers and topics are lined up for this 5-hour investing marathon, man. So to everyone, I want to say have an amazing.
Let me just, before you sign off, one more thing.
Yeah.
I did this at the show yesterday too, and I know you have a link for the REITs. What I wanted to say is this: if you, either yourself or somebody who's struggling right now to make sense out of their portfolio, or if they feel selling their real estate is the only solution to their issues, please refer them to us. Both Jazz and I have we're available. We have an entire team available to listen and do what we call a real estate action plan. You may not have to sell. You may have to sell, but at the end of the day, give us the opportunity to take a look at what you believe the issue is. And if we just maybe have an alternative solution that might be more profitable or keeps you in a position of strength longer, because we know there is widespread bleeding out there. We know it. We're part of it. Jazz's variable mortgage went up the same way yours did. So if you have any of these issues, we are more than happy to put in the time and give you a second opinion, potentially find a solution that you just might not be aware of. I just wanted to say that. Jazzy, what is the link to the
coffeewithrec.com. Coffee.
And Tyler mans that port, correct?
Yep, that's it. He's our that's the first time that's happened to me.
There's nobody on this call, I believe, that does not know who Tyler Walburn is. Tyler is our VP of the Concierge Division. Coffeewithrec.com. Take the time, take a minute, do a double check. And now I will let Jazzy sign off. Lots of love for me. Have an amazing Sunday. Jazzy, go ahead.
Well, you did it, brother. And I said, look, for me, I'm looking forward to the Cowboys tonight because it's a Sunday nighter. So, it's a national televised game. This is when the big stars show up,
but the Dallas Cowboys are there, so there won't be any stars.
This is the year for them. This is the year for them. I feel it. They actually
21 years we're going on with this. You understand that, right?
I know. You don't need to remind me, bro. You don't need to remind me.
The Toronto Maple Leafs will also win the Stanley Cup this year.
Yeah. So I'll sign off by saying, go Cowboys, go. Love each and every one of you. Have an amazing Sunday and an even better week. Take care, everyone.